Diane and I boarded the Sea Princess bound for Alaska on August 10th, 2010. We made a quick trip up to Verizon Court, which is the 24-hour buffet, to get lunch. And at 4 p.m. we set sail for Alaska. We had prayed for warm weather in Alaska, but I had forgot to pray about warm weather in California. And we were met by a cold, foggy day as we left San Francisco Bay. This is an exciting trip for me, as we were going to meet my captain, which was the Lieutenant JG at the time, Ray Ryuta, who had retired as Vice Admiral of the Coast Guard. We are approaching San Francisco Bay Bridge here, the Golden Gate Bridge, correction. As you can see, it was cold and windy, and you will notice as we go under the Golden Gate Bridge, the top of the mast on our ship almost is 5 to 8 feet from touching the bottom of that bridge. And here we are heading out into open sea. This is the second night at sea. It's dress-up evening, formal evening, and Diane and I are in our attire on our way to dinner. This is the people that we had dinner with every night. Fantastic food. We're at about Oregon there, and you can see water splashing up out of the hot tub in the pool here. We're in really rough waters at this time off the Oregon coast. Really made us sleep like babies. Here we are the next morning. I had the privilege of being able to go into the anchor room and rope room where they tie the ships. We are on our way into Victoria. We have people who stay in our condos at MauiDreamVacationCondos.com every year, Earl and his wife, Miriam, and we had wrote them and asked them where we should go when we were there. And they said, hey, we'll just pick you up at the ship and we'll give you a tour of the city. So we were blessed to have a tour of the city by them. This is the largest totem pole in the world. Here they are, Earl and Miriam, fantastic hosts. This is one of the beaches that they took us to, and we walked along the beach walk there. This is a garden that we went to that was a huge garden at a university. This is up on the hill overlooking the entire city, getting a view of the city. From there, we went to the governor's mansion and visited the governor's mansion. Beautiful building, beautiful grounds. This is a castle. This gentleman was the head of all the lumber in Victoria, and his wife wouldn't move there unless he built her a castle. So he built her a castle, and she moved over there to Victoria with him. This is downtown Victoria. I mean, the flowers are absolutely gorgeous there. They actually come and water those flowers at night. This is the city. Little bay that comes up there. This is the gardens of the Empress Hotel, which is a very famous hotel. We went through there while they were having high tea. You pay $55 a person to have high tea at this place. Tea and crumpets, probably the most expensive tea on the universe. This is the building from the outside, the Empress Hotel. Now we're inside the government parliament buildings. And this is Queen Victoria outside those buildings. Some more totem poles. They have a lot of totem poles there. And there's our ship. We're on the way back to the ship. And there we are on this ship, setting sail for Juneau. And here we are the next morning. up bright and early. That's some whales that were playing out alongside the ship. Both Diane and I are excited to be able to spend the day with Vice Admiral Ray Ryuta and his wife Barbara. Diane and I are both all dressed up and ready to go, excited. Like I say, this is the highlight, and this is the whole reason that I would even go to a cold country on a ship, was to see Ray. This is a bay as we're going up into Juneau. We have a pilot on board the boat now. When you get into these small straits, they don't let the captain steer the ship anymore. They put a trained pilot on, and he stayed on for the next 4 days. Here we are, coming up the coast to Juneau. Beautiful trees, a lot of wildlife. There's Juneau up ahead. I expected to see a lot more snow. And by the way, when we got to Alaska, it was 75 degrees in Juneau this day. There's Juneau, and there's another cruise ship there. And there is Admiral Ryuta and his wife, and what a fantastic tour they took us on. They took us through their whole city to every gorgeous place that you could possibly think of. There's only 2 ways into Juneau, one by air and the other by boat. They do have roads to get along internally, but you can't leave there by car. This is a church that they took us to up on top of a hill with the beautiful ocean views. That's the inside of the church, big open beam ceilings. And that's the view from the church. Can you imagine that? Absolutely gorgeous views. And there is Diane and Barbara at the entrance of the church. That's one of the stations of the cross. All through the trees there, they had them. And here we are, that beautiful picture. We're going into Mendenhall Park. And in fact, Jim Mendenhall from our church, it was a family relative of his that it was named after, who was part of the Department of Interior. This was an absolutely gorgeous glacier. This glacier, I believe they said, is moving at 4 feet a day. They say that the snow that is, the ice that's hitting the water right there today, actually was hundreds of years ago at the top of the mountain. And in fact, the glacier used to cover this whole area. This is one that is receding. The blue ice, when we see the blue there, is ice that's been compact so long and so hard, extra cold, and it does not allow all the light to go through it. So only the blue spectrums of light can make it through this ice. The black you see on it is this is carving out the mountain. As it's coming down, it gets all the black striations on it. There's Ray and Barbara. And there's my sweetie pie. Look at that just beautiful blue color of that ice. That's an iceberg, by the way. There's the center there. We got the tour. And there's the Mendenhall plaque. Ray's wife went out ahead of time, too, before we got there to find bears so that we would be able to see bears. And we went on the walk while we were at the park, and there we go. There's some little bear cubs right on cue. They're playing there. Can have a little game of tag. There they are. And the mama bear, she went down to the creek, got a salmon, brought the salmon up, and then she rolled over on her back and exposed her breasts and just kind of said to the babies, "You want the salmon or do you want some milk?" And they went for the salmon, so I guess they're probably getting about the time they're weaned. There's mama there. There's one of the babies up in a tree playing. I mean, we were right up front and close to these bears. They were right there. We were on that bridge that you see right there on that walkway, and there was the mama bear right under. She's getting a little bit nervous there and looking up at us. We kind of stood back a little bit because we didn't want her hopping over the rail. There's the kids eating that salmon. There's mama bear again. She's getting a little bit nervous. You can see her stance there. And there's mama taking off, calling the kids. She gave the kids the sound, come on, follow me, and there goes the little bears following their mama. This is the body of water that she got the salmon out of. Look at those beautiful pink salmon. That's where she caught the fish for the bear. And here we are at a restaurant having dinner. Obviously, nice salmon dinner. There is our ship from the restaurant. They took us to a salmon hatchery after that. Ray and Barbara at the hatchery. And that's their house across the body of water there. And right next to their house, you can see the rain gutter. They have eagles that live in the trees right there at their house. You talk about a beautiful setting. And here we are, sunset. It's 10 o'clock at night. We're heading back to the ship because the ship is supposed to leave at 10 o'clock. It happened to turn out, look at the sunset. Look at just absolutely gorgeous sunsets. As I was saying, it turned out that we weren't able to leave at 10 o'clock because our ship had a full electrical failure when they switched from shore power and all the lights went out. We only had emergency lights on the ship, so we actually did not leave Juneau until 11, and there we are on our way out to sea. Now we're coming into Skagway, and Ray had told us that we needed to go on the White Pass train, and we hadn't got tickets for it yet, so we got off early in the morning so we could get on the White Pass train to go over to White Pass. We're passing one of the diesel locomotives there on our way up the hill. White Pass. That is a Forest Service. The Forest Service guy lives there, and that's his camp at the beginning of White Pass. And here we are going up White Pass to the 3,000-foot level. There was a ruling that all the 100,000 people went here for the gold rush, and they had to pack 1 year's supply, 2,000 pounds of supplies, up to the top of the mountain before they were allowed to go into the gold country. That's looking back to our ship there. And so that is why they put the train through there, because it would take these people 20 to 30 trips up this mountain in heavy snow to get all those provisions up. And there's our train. It's a diesel locomotive. Some of the scenery, beautiful, big trees, a lot of wildlife. There's Diane and I out taking pictures. There's a stream that was running by the railroad tracks as it goes up through the mountains there. Beautiful snowy pass. And all that area in the wintertime is just totally socked in with snow. Now there's a train below us. That train takes another route to another city. You can see how these mountains are all carved out like that. Glaciers and stuff that used to come through. There's a bridge. That bridge is a national monument now. That was built back in the 1800s. And to think about the architecture there. There's one of the many tunnels that we went through on our way up to White Pass. Here we are getting close to the summit. And there's the United States border and the Canadian border right there, and that's the house where the Mounties used to stay. They would stay in that little house, and it was a year assignment. They would be in that little house there, and this is where they made everybody have their 2,000 pounds of supplies before they'd send them on. There's our conductor switching the tracks so that our train could get to the other side, because it pulled us up, and then it went on the other track and then pulled us back, and you'd think we'd go backwards to town, but we didn't. The seats actually, the back of the seat flopped over, so you were always going forward no matter which way the train was going, whether it's going up or going down, you were still going forward. here we are heading back down the hill again. There's that famous bridge. Beautiful snow-capped mountains. And just some of the bodies of water through that mountain were just incredible. Here is the border, which really is a long ways from the Canadian border, but it's always snowed in up there, so they put the border on the highway well into the Alaskan side. This is the train yard where they worked on the trains and where the trains stay at night. Now we went back to the ship, ate, and we're headed into the city for shopping. This is the town of Skagway now. Beautiful town full of a lot of free museums. You can see the water melting in the snow up there because it's 85 this day in Alaska. There are a lot of museums that were free to go to. Here we are at the White Pass train station. And of course, we never give up the opportunity to have our picture taken with the bear. That's the head bear of the station. We went to several museums while we were there, saw some motion pictures, did a lot of shopping. And of course, that shopping makes you hungry. We went back and ate and then went dancing to, this is a 50 and 60 party, and Diane's doing the hula hoop there the right way. There I am doing the hula hoop. I just grabbed a hula hoop and turned around in circles. I don't think that's exactly the way you're supposed to do it. This is the next day now. We're up at Glacier Park, and they actually brought naturalists on the ship to MC all the way through, because you can't go into this area except by permit. And so it's a special permit. We had these naturalists on board, work for the state of Alaska. They're kind of like our forestry. And they told us all about everything that's happened there. I had to get up at 6 a.m. in the morning and went up to Verizon Court, which again is the food court, to get us a seat. And I got the last one by the window. Look at this gorgeous sky. Who says there's no God? How can anybody paint something so beautiful other than God? I mean, this is just totally majestic as we're going up through the glaciers. There's a bear. That's a grizzly bear. And he's coming down to eat a whale. A whale had died in May. And these bears have been working on eating that whale up since May. That's what's left of the whale right there. And there's a bear sitting there eating that. And you can imagine his constitution eating something that's been lying there for about 3 months. About got it eaten up. Here's a glacier. This is one of the glaciers, one of the several glaciers that we went to. This one you can see is more spread out, so this one here moves a lot slower, but it's not coming from the same height. You see how it's just kind of like gentle as it comes down. That one moves about 2 feet a day. There's some glaciers there that way up in the mountains coming down. I was using my telephoto lens of one of the high mountains, and some of the snows up there. That's a picture off the bow of the ship. We're heading up to another glacier. Let's say there were several glaciers through this park. Here we are coming up on another glacier. This one you can see moves a little faster. See how the ice stacks up higher and pillars. All that black on that ice too is just from it scraping down the mountain. It picks up, cuts its way through all of the banks. Later on we'll see some calving, and that's when ice breaks off of the glaciers and falls into the ocean there. Telephoto lens again. There's a glacier working its way down from the heights. That's there's another glacier, and that's an iceberg in front of us. That one looks like a dog howling. 90%, they say 10% is above the water, 90% is below the water, so we certainly wouldn't want to hit that. Here we are at another glacier. You can see it kind of zigzagging down that mountain there. There it is. In order to be a glacier, it has to be moving. And there you can see all the icy water, but that white on the water too is just the minerals and stuff that's being scraped off of the mountain by the glacier. Big snow peaks. Now where we are on the boat here too, you could not get like 80 years ago, because it was all glacier where the boat is today. Look at those beautiful wispy clouds. There's another iceberg. Wouldn't want to hit that one either. That one could sure crush the hull of the boat. That's just some pretty rock where the glaciers have just carved out all those carvings in those rocks. Now we're coming up to the last glacier for the day. This is also the biggest glacier. This one stands about 300 feet high. And see how close together it is. This one moves 6 feet every day. See that blue ice that we talked about too. Again, very compact and cold. When it would break off to calf, it would sound like a gunshot. And then you'd wait about 45 seconds and then 2 more gunshots. And then it would break off and fall. That's the striations. It's pretty colors of the striations from the banks. And I think the next picture or two here we'll see. There's one falling in. You can see as it falls into the water right there, steam comes up. It's actually cold. It's like dry ice, and it sounds like firecrackers going off when it hits the water. There's all the snow in the water there. All the ice, rather, in the water there. Beautiful blue ice. There's Ted and Terry. As you know, we always travel with our bears, and they're watching the glaciers. Now, this is actually an underground river that's coming underneath that glacier. You can see right there the river coming out underneath that glacier. Big body of water. You can see how it just makes it all gray right there from the river coming out. Look at that beautiful ice there. I think that one up on top looks like an elephant. Just beautiful. And there's a white bird on a black piece of ice and a black bird on white ice. Thought that was kind of interesting. There we are. The boat is now making a slow 360 degree turn. So we get all different angles of the glacier, and then we will head out of there. We spent the whole day up in Glacier Bay, and that was on the 16th. There we are, heading out of Glacier Bay on our way to Ketchikan, Alaska. It was Italian dinner that night. This is our waiter and his assistants. Every night they had a different theme for dinner. The food was absolutely incredible. They made homemade ice cream and sorbet every night. There we are. It's about 9:30 at night there. You can see how light it is at 9:30 at night. Diane and I are walking off dinner. If you walk around that deck 3 times, it's a mile. It's the promenade deck. So we were out promenading. Now it's getting closer to 10, and then we went to this comedian. It was at 10:15, so that picture was right around 10. And here we are now coming into Ketchikan. Ketchikan actually is 26 miles long of these little villages and stuff alongside the ocean there, the bay, as we're heading into Ketchikan. That's actually a place where planes landed, water planes taxied up to. There's the main airport in Ketchikan. Now that's the industrial part of the city. That's one of their local cruise ships, certainly nothing like we were on. And there's Ketchikan. We're approaching Ketchikan now. And there's our favorite ship. That's the Sapphire Princess. Diane and I have been on that ship many times. Now we're getting ready to dock right there in that piece of dock you see open. We'll just pull in right behind that other Holland America ship, and in we go. And there's the city. There's a church that we saw on the way in that I thought was really cute, so I snapped a picture of it. And there's Ted and Terry all ready for their day in Ketchikan. That's the Ketchikan Fish House, which is actually a shop to shop in. Thousands of fish, too. There was salmon going up the river there just by the thousand. There's a picture back to our ship, the Sea Princess. Diane by a totem pole. There's another church we saw on our way up to the top of the mountain. There's fish. All that brown you see is not rock. That's just hundreds and hundreds of fish lined up going up this stream. See them there? Hundreds and thousands of fish going up the stream there. Now, Diane and I are up at the top. This is a little park that's up at the top where the fish are spawning. These are children, because again it was 80 degrees this day. The parents had them out and they were playing in a little knee-deep pond. I thought that's kind of interesting. They got moss growing on the roofs of the houses there. If you look up close to the bank, you'll see salmon going up this great big fall. Some of them would get up to the top and they'd be so weak, all of a sudden, boom, they'd go back down again. I felt so sorry for these salmon, just fighting everything they had to get to the top. Now we're on the river walk, and this buildings and walkway is all along the riverbank. All these buildings go out over the riverbank. Really beautiful walk. Now I'm walking down, and Diane's going to take a picture of me way down the walk. There I am, waving back at her. And now we're downtown Ketchikan. Went downtown, went back to the ship, had lunch. That actually is the Deadliest Catch. That's one of the boats on the Deadliest Catch. I was kind of disappointed to find out it's a replica, but there's a buoy tender there, Coast Guard buoy tender, and there's a boat like I was on, a Coast Guard cutter that I was on, only this is the newer version. And here we are, leaving Ketchikan now. Poor person there, this yacht, a helicopter. You actually see a lot of those up there. And there is one of the seaplanes coming in with some more tourists, probably. That's a totem pole park that was in Ketchikan. Went by that on the way out. And when we get to that little piece of land you see there, that's when our pilot will leave the boat after 4 days on the boat, and the captain will take over. That's the movies under the star there. This is the welcome back night, because Diane and I have been on so many cruises. They always have, for people who have been back, captains hosts this and shakes your hand and all that stuff. And so we're dancing at the welcome back party. And then from there we go to dinner. It's the last formal night's dinner. This guy was actually at the pizza parlor. He made me wheat-free pizza every night, gluten-free pizza every night. And here we are. Now this would be actually the next day. Those are some pictures that we didn't buy, but we took pictures of just to kind of show them. They're always taking pictures of you on that ship. And there's a nice little sunset. And there is my beautiful bride, who just makes me so happy. I'm such a blessed man to have such a wonderful wife. And here we are in our favorite place, the Wheelhouse Bar. They had a 50s, 60s, and 70s band called Derringer that played every night, and we did a lot of dancing. We danced until midnight this last night. This is the last night on the ship here, and we were out for the dance. They did a little line dancing too. Diane was on the line dance. I set the line dances out because I don't know all the moves to them. And here we are out there shaking a leg. I love dancing with my wife. And so this is the end of the trip. We are back in San Francisco, signing off.